Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Suplexes, Scores, and Save Points. This time, we're talking scores. It is our weekly sports podcast. I am Ryan. With me today, I'm being joined by one person. Nathan had to dip out. He had family stuff, I guess. I don't know. With me is my co-host for the day. It is Jeff.
Potentially the next Bears coach. I don't know. Might put my name in that.
Oh, boy, what a show this is going to be. I have a feeling. This is going to be a fun one. We're going to be talking everything NFL, NASCAR, some MLB, all that fun stuff. So, why is this damn microphone? Let's just jump right into the NFL, because I'm sure that's what is the main thing everyone's probably going to want to talk about anyway. Week 3 of the NFL proved to be quite a week, honestly. It was some pretty fun games. We'll start with as we usually do, we'll just start with our 3 teams that we root for, and then we'll go through the rest of the scores. So,
I'm going to go test drive it. The guy down in the auto parts store said, put this in there, and he said it will work if it's not completely shot.
Okay, so the Colts, which is Nathan's favorite team, put up a stinker against the Titans. Titans put up 25-16 over the Colts. Nathan wanted me to mention that Wentz has terrible ankles.
Yeah, he's breaking his ankles, and not in a good way either.
Yeah, I don't know. I
like the move at first, but as it's went on, I just don't see it working out.
Well, they got rid of Jacoby Brissett, and he goes down to Miami and is having a decent season. Not great, but a way better season than Brissett's having right now.
Yeah.
So, Colts lose. They are now 0-3. This is not going to be a good year for a Colts fan.
Marlon Mack and the Colts both agreed today to mutually seek a trade. So he's going to be gone from Indy.
Yeah, that's great.
He's running back number 2 or 3 anyways, but
yeah. I guess as we're talking news, Richard Sherman is going to work out and visit the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on today or tomorrow. So great. The rich get richer. God, I just don't understand why more teams haven't done this strategy. Let's just get everybody. I don't understand.
On the topic of it, Kansas City's bringing in Josh Gordon, who's the only man to be suspended 9 times and still suspended 9 times, reinstated 5 times. And he's back on a team, so
yeah, he's gonna
put down the peyote or not.
Yeah, he's gonna sign with the Chiefs. Originally, be on their practice squad, and then eventually probably earn a spot on the main team. Okay.
All I'm saying, Ryan, is his contract better be $20 and a bag of potato chips.
Yeah. Let's go to a game that I know you have some thoughts and feelings and opinions about. Browns and Bears. This was the starting. Well, I guess you could call it this was Justin Fields' debut as the Bears starting quarterback, and oh my God.
How does your defense get 6 to 7 sacks and you still lose the game? I'll tell you how. It's because Matt Nagy, the coaching genius who says BU should maybe be a good coach for once and not be himself, and let the team fucking play. This guy, I don't advocate for people losing their jobs unless it's Cody Parkey, because that dude's fucking garbage. But Matt Nagy, man, Matt Nagy doesn't even give up the play call. Admits it was a coaching problem. Yeah, look in the fucking mirror. Your receding hairline, balding old ass, big nose, cannot call a playbook at all. Okay, Justin Fields sacked 9 times. Okay, that's not on Nagy. That's on our O-line, which is a retirement home with Jason Peters on the edge. But besides all that, you let Justin Fields only throw the ball about 6 yards or so every pass when he can get the ball off. And literally not his fault as to why he, whatever happened. He did make a couple bad reads, but it didn't result in a turnover. And now you take Fields. And this week, what gets me about you, Matt Nagy, is this week you said that all 3 quarterbacks are an option to start. Justin Fields wasn't the problem. You are the problem. I was surprised to wake up to see him still having a job, Ryan. But
yeah,
I'm all for it. This is what I would like to happen, okay? Ryan Pace drafts decent, not the best GM because he's handcuffed to Nagy. Kick him out of town. Get them both out of town, right? Mid-season. McCaskey's need to do it right now. Right now, get them both out of there. What they need to do, hire whoever they want at GM, preferably someone that knows football. Or, you can get Bobby Boucher for all I care. He'll be better than Ryan Pace. Or after you do that move, here's my pick, Ryan. Bring Harbaugh back to the NFL as the coach of the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, they just to give you some for those of you who don't know the stats of this game, just to run down some of the things that happened to the Bears. They had a total yards of 47, which that's, to me, you lose your job. I don't care. And they said
of 1 passing.
Yeah, they set a record, which was 100 years of the lowest yards per play in NFL history with 1.1. That is terrible. And again, that goes on play calling. They did not let Justin Fields throw it at all down the field. He didn't get a chance to show what he actually had. Now, I'm going to throw this out here. This is something that I saw someone else talk about. There's some conspiracy theorists out there who are saying that Nagy threw this game because he didn't want to be wrong about Justin Fields. He didn't want Justin Fields to go out there and show up and everyone be like, see, he should be the starter. So he went out there and said, well, see, he's not good either. I can't believe a coach would actually do that. But that's the only explanation I can come up with for why the play calling was what it was. The play calling was absolute dog shit.
I mean, you look at it, okay? I mean, they have their differences, right? But Mitchell Trubisky and Justin Fields have the same playing style. Both mobile quarterbacks. Both aren't pocket passers. Look at how Nagy was riding the coattails of Mitchell Trubisky's rookie year whenever he got into the playoffs. He was riding the coattails off of letting Mitch do what Mitch does and win. He makes it into his own scheme, a pocket passing quarterback. Mitch fails. What did he do with Fields? Wouldn't let him run.
Yeah, and that's that. And a good coach uses the strength of his players, not makes the players adapt to you. And Matt Nagy's trying to make Fields run his player. You just let Justin Fields' best offense is let him run, let him make him make plays.
Here's the thing, Ryan. Do you agree now that, I mean, I believe from the beginning, but Mitchell Trubisky was not the problem?
No. Mitchell Trubisky was good when he was playing the style of game he can play. Nagy tried to make him a pocket passer, and he's not a pocket passer.
He went 12-4 his rookie year, or his second year, but his rookie starting debut. Whenever he got to play the football he wanted.
Yep. And then they switched it, and then they ran him out of town. The Bears got a major problem happening, and if they don't fix it soon, they're going to have some. The fans are going to be done, and their players are already having issues. This is going to be. They're going to have some stuff going on in that locker room if they don't fix it quick. So.
And it starts at the top. I mean, the McCaskies, sad to say, I've been a lifelong Bears fan. The McCaskies don't care about winning damn football games. They just care about the money. And that's why we need new owners as well.
Yeah. All right. The other team that I root for, the Oakland Raiders, hosted the Miami Dolphins in a game which, like every game this year for Las Vegas, they give me a heart attack every single game.
Well, Ryan, I think it's by design.
Probably. Let's be honest. This game started off with Vegas falling down 14-2 at the end of the first. And I was like, well, here we go. They fought back, made it 14-10 at halftime, took the lead in the third quarter. Fourth quarter, they ended up hitting 2 field goals to Daniel Carson had a huge game, by the way, in case you're wondering. They ended up sending this game to overtime, and the Raiders marched down the field, kicked a field goal. All they had to do was stop Miami. And they had a 3rd and long, or 4th and long. All they had to do was stop them, and they couldn't do it. And then Miami drove down, kicked a field goal. So then we were tied. And then it was next score wins. Somehow Vegas ended up actually kicking a field goal and winning this game. They were 3-0, but I don't know how much longer they're going to stay undefeated.
I tell you, man, people should start adding Daniel Carlson to their fantasy football lineup. I mean, if they're going to play overtime every week, and Aaron Waller, so I'm all for overtime every week. But
yeah, Carlson was 3 for 3 and 2 extra points. So they've had 2 overtime games already this year. It's insanity. The games Vegas have been in already. He's there. By the way, everyone hates on Carr. Blah blah blah. He's leading the league in yards currently. He's second. He's tied for 10th with touchdowns and tied for 14th with interceptions. So
I mean, to be fair, like not dogging Carr or anything, but because my own quarterback situation isn't the best. But I mean, you should be leading the league in passing yards whenever you play over 2 overtime games. Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm up and down with Carr. I think Carr is a good quarterback. I think his one issue, and it's kind of a good thing, is he's not a risk taker. He doesn't take many sacks as he's always throwing the ball away. He doesn't take many risks, which means he doesn't throw very many interceptions. Hell, he's got 2 interceptions this year. One of them was a tip, so wasn't even his fault. So yeah, Carr's good, but he has more last minute drives than most quarterbacks, so you got to give it up to him there. I mean, he does, when it comes down to the end of the game, he has the ball in his hands. He's like Aaron Rodgers. It's a pretty good chance he's going to be there.
Speaking of that, Green Bay, man, came up 40. Okay, Aaron Rodgers. All right, this is last thing about related to Matt Nagy because I don't even want to waste my breath on this guy. So Aaron Rodgers in 36 seconds goes 46 yards. That's 1 yard less in 46 seconds, and the Bears had the whole fucking game.
The Sunday night game was Packers 49ers. 49ers scored late, as you said, with like 40 seconds left on the clock. Can't do that. You leave them too much time, and Aaron Rodgers just picked them up all the way down the field in a last-minute field goal wins the game. You can't.
Aaron Rodgers is raising his stock from game 1 this year.
Yeah.
The guy that's decreasing his stock is Patrick Mahomes, man. What's going on with him?
Yeah, Mahomes is I don't know, man. I think teams may have finally figured him out. Mahomes.
If he looked at the guy he was throwing the ball to, he might not throw an interception either.
No, that's true. That's true. Sometimes it helps to look where you're throwing the ball. Chargers ended up beating the Chiefs 30-24. Chiefs are now last place in the AFC West. Would not have
losing record since 2015.
Would not have seen that coming. Yeah, they were one.
Reed got taken to the hospital as well.
He's probably freaking out. He's like, "What do I do? Never been in this."
They signed Josh Gordon.
Yeah, he's like, "I haven't been in this situation in a while." Elsewhere, we had the Panthers beat the Texans 24-9. Another surprising 3-0 team. We got some surprises this year. Buffalo went out and completely spanked Washington 43-21. Josh Allen again just throwing the ball everywhere and had a fantastic game. 4 touchdowns.
2 records were set yesterday as well in 2 games. One was the Jacksonville Jaguars game with the Cardinals, where I don't I don't understand why you try a 68-yard field goal with Matt Prater. I mean, he's the record holder, but he set the record, or the former record holder. Spoiler alert. But Prater, like, why do you try a 68 in Arizona whenever he barely hit a 65 or barely hit a 64 in Denver air? Like, I don't get it. But 109-yard Jamal Agnew with a big return.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Jaguars can't score on offense, but they can score on every other side of the ball.
Second special team returns on the year for a touchdown.
Yeah, that's about all they did. Jaguars only put up 19 points. And you can add to the interception total for Trevor Lawrence. He put 2 more up this game. He's coming for that record. Jameis, your record is in jeopardy.
I told you, man. I told you at the beginning of the year. Hey, my picks that we did for season predictions this year, they're looking all right. I had some surprise ones for y'all, like Cleveland winning their division. They're looking pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're looking good.
I also had Dallas, who looks pretty good. So
yeah, Arizona ended up winning this game 31-19. They are also undefeated. Another, I would say, kind of surprised undefeated team. I mean, I don't think anyone expected Arizona to be 3-0. I don't think anyone expected Carolina or Denver or Oakland or Vegas. I keep saying Oakland. I'll get to it eventually. I don't think anyone expected them to be the undefeated teams. If you were saying who's going to be undefeated week 3, I don't think people would say them and then the Rams. I don't think people would say Rams, Cardinals, Broncos, Raiders, and Panthers.
Rams are a contender, man.
Rams are a contender. We had that record. The other record was in the Ravens game as Justin Tucker, last second field goal, 66 yards, and Justin Tucker hit it, leading the Ravens to the 19-17 victory over the Detroit Lions.
All I'm saying, Ryan, is that record for me, being a kicker and doing what I do, kicking in my free time for fun, that's a long kick, man.
I don't think that'll ever be broken. 66 yards is insane.
I think there's a guy in the league right now that can beat it, man. If you ever get a chance, go check out his Cole's Kicking Camp highlight videos and his highlights. Evan McPherson, the Bengals kicker. That dude on an extra point kicks it over the net. So, I mean, he's clearing the top of the goalpost on 35-yard kicks. So,
yeah. Well, Saints win again as they beat the Patriots 28-13. They are now 2-1. Falcons get a win as they beat the lowly Giants 17-14. That game's just terrible.
Remember when everyone thought Saquon was going to be the next, like, Walter Payton?
Yeah. Yeah. He had a whopping 51 yards this game. You mentioned the Bengals. They won as they upset the Steelers 24-10 in a kind of, I would say, a shocking win there. I don't think anyone expected the Bengals to beat the Steelers. Broncos blew out the Jets 26-0, and the Broncos are 3-0. Again, another surprise team, 3-0. Rams, Buccaneers, this was probably one of the best games of the week. This game was really good. Rams ended up taking it 34. It started out slow. Like this game, I was like, oh boy. Kind of picked up steam there in the second half, and the Rams hold off the Buccaneers 34-24. It's Matthew Stafford showing why he's considered one of the best. He had 4 touchdowns. Vikings beat the Seahawks 30-17. And then the Monday night game, whoo boy. The Eagles looked terrible as the Cowboys. The Eagles won 41-21. Oh, wow. Let's go through the standings. AFC East, Buffalo leading the division at 2-1. Miami and New England are both 1-2, and the Jets are 0-3. AFC North, Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Cleveland are all tied at 2-1 with Pittsburgh 1-2. Very tight division there. AFC South, like we said, and we said this was probably going to be the worst division in football. It's shaping up that way. Tennessee is 2-1. Houston is 1-2, and Indianapolis and Jacksonville are both 0-3. it's going to be a terrible division. AFC West, the Vegas and Denver are 3-0. Chargers 2-1, and like we said, for the first time in a long time, the Chiefs are in last place in the AFC West at 1-2. Out in the NFC East, Dallas leads the way at 2-1. Washington and Philadelphia are 1-2, and the Giants are 0-3. In the North, Green Bay holds the first place 2-1, with Chicago, Minnesota both 1-2, and Detroit 0-3. That division still, you never know though. You never know what Aaron Rodgers is going to show up. So
I don't know. Detroit, I think, is already out of it because I knew from the beginning Jared Goff is not that guy. And Jared Goff is showing he is not that guy.
Jared Goff was good his first year because of the system.
Yeah.
And once they figured it out, he was they had that hot new coach and he had that new system and no one could figure it out. And then once they learned it, he's just a basic average quarterback. NFC South, Carolina, it's a surprise 3-0 leading the division with Tampa Bay and New Orleans at 2-1 and Atlanta 1-2. And in the West, probably the best division of football right now, Los Angeles and Arizona are 3-0, San Francisco 2-1, and Seattle is 1-2. The two West divisions are going to be rough, I think.
When does San Fran go to Trey Lance? Because, I mean, Garoppolo looked horrible.
Yeah, he's not looking very good. Garoppolo, I don't know. He's only thrown 760 yards. He's got 4 touchdowns and only 1 interception on the year. It's not terrible. He's only got he's 62.5%. So that's okay, but I think eventually they're going to have to decide what they want to do with Lance.
I feel like I'm going to stop saying his name right until he plays better. So instead of Jimmy Garoppolo, it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo. So
Garoppolo. Yeah. Yeah, he had Garoppolo had 2 fumbles and an interception in the last game. So I don't know, we'll see what they do. That's your NFL update. Very exciting week in college in the NFL, I tell you. And we've been saying it, everyone's been saying it this whole time. This is probably going to be the best season ever.
We're already in week coming into week 4 already. That's insane.
It feels like the season just started and we're already to week 4. That's what's crazy. Like this season's going to fly by, I feel like. I think that's good because when it's a good season and good games, it seems to fly by. Let's cancel this. All right, what do you want to move to next? Let's go to let's see. Let's talk the NASCAR. Let's get the NASCAR in.
So it's been kind of crazy. We saw Denny Hamlin win Vegas after Larson dominated much of the race. His team decided to kind of let him down, but it was a good showing. I mean, Joey Gase had one hell of a wreck. Dude got taken to the hospital for precautionary measures, but so that's not something you want to see. But big news, though, this week going into Talladega, big playoff race, man, big implications. And Kevin Harvick is without his crew chief. So Rodney Childress suspended for lug nut violations, which I think is a stupid infraction anyways. But
who was eliminated this week?
No one was eliminated.
No one?
Talladega is the elimination race.
And then we'll be down to how many left then?
Or actually, wait a minute. The Charlotte Roval might be the elimination race.
Okay.
I feel like. But right now on the bubble is Alex Bowman, William Byron from Hendrick, Kevin Harvick, and Christopher Bell are the 4 on the bubble right now.
So we'll be down to, 8 after the next cutoff?
Yeah, after the next cutoff, whether it's Talladega or the Roval, I can't remember which one, but we'll be down to 8 after that. Then they'll run 2 races, I believe, and then it's down to 4, or 2 or 3 races, and it's down to 4 for the championship.
Awesome. Yeah, we've only got, 6 races left. Getting down here to the end of the season. If I had to pick right now, I mean, it's hard to bet against Hamlin. He's been so dominant this year.
I think Larson, honestly, because he's my guy, he's going to win it all, or he's my pick.
I think it's going to be Hamlin or Larson. Hamlin's picked it up here late, but Larson, 6 wins. It's hard to say that he shouldn't. He's been pretty good all year. So
I think the final 4 is going to be, honestly, Hamlin, Larson, obviously. I think they both will make it to the final 4. And then I believe it'll either be Chase Elliott and either Martin Truex Jr. or Kyle Busch. So I think we'll see 2 Hendrick and 2 Gibbs cars in the final 4.
It'll be it's going to be an interesting end of the year for NASCAR with these last 6 races. There's going to be Talladega is always a fun race. Always, you never know the big one. The big one's going to happen. So we'll see what happens at Talladega this weekend. Should be interesting. Should be a fun race. Let's move on to the semi-professionals, as I call them, the NCAA. They were into week 4 last week. We had some pretty big games and then not so pretty big games. There wasn't a lot. Most of the ranked teams played unranked opponents with a few upsets. So we'll get to that. Number 1, Alabama destroyed Southern Miss. Shocking, I know. 63-14. Number 2, Georgia blew out Vanderbilt 62-0. You're going to hear that a lot. You're going to hear the word blowout a lot. Number 3, Oregon blew out Arizona 41-19. Number 4, Oklahoma was in a fight with West Virginia, coming down to the wire, with Oklahoma pulling out the win 16-13. The fans actually were turning on Spencer Rattler in this game. He had a pretty bad game, and they were wanting they have a 5-star number 1 overall rated quarterback sitting on the bench, and the fans are getting anxious over there in Oklahoma. Iowa, number 5 Iowa beat Colorado State 24-14. Number 6 Penn State beat Villanova 38-17. Number 16 Arkansas and number 7 Texas A&M did battle, with Arkansas winning 20-10. That's an SEC showdown. In 2 overtimes, NC State, unranked, knocks off number 9 Clemson 27-21. Big upset.
Clemson's not what they were. They're going to have to do something to turn around that franchise, and I believe the turnaround in that franchise is up and coming with Arch Manning. Yeah. Ohio State blew out Akron 59-7. Shocking. Number 11 Florida blew out Tennessee 38-14. Number 12 Notre Dame took on number 18 Wisconsin, with Notre Dame blowing them out 41-13. Baylor, unranked Baylor, upsets number 14 Iowa State 31-29. Number 15 BYU beat South Florida 35-27. Number 17 Coastal Carolina beat UMass 53-3. Coastal Carolina was one team I was surprised was ranked, but now that I've been seeing them play a little more, Ryan, I feel like they're deserving of that ranking now.
Yeah, it was when the rankings came out, and I was like, really? Coastal Carolina? But, yeah, seeing them play, yeah, they're a pretty good team. Number 19, Michigan beat Rutgers 20-13. Number 20, Michigan State beat Nebraska in overtime 23-20. Number 21, North Carolina loses to number 4 to unranked Georgia Tech 45-22. Number 23, Auburn beat Georgia State 34-24. Number 24, UCLA beat Stanford 35-24. And unranked Oklahoma State beat Kansas State, who's 25th, 31-20. And number 22, Fresno State beat UNLV 38-30. Just real quick to talk about the Big Ten, because that's kind of our area. So I like to talk about the Big Ten because it's kind of where we're from. Purdue beat Illinois 13-9, and Indiana barely beat Western Kentucky 33-31. Yeah, not a good year for any of the teams that I like. So, all right, Well, we have NBA news I want to get to as Ben Simmons has said he will not play another minute for Philadelphia. He is pretty much said he's not even going to. He said he won't even go to training camp. He's basically saying, "I'm done. I'm not going to play anymore." So we'll see.
Where does he go though? Like,
I don't know because apparently what Philadelphia wants is way too much, and I don't see any team giving him that much for Ben Simmons, a guy who
especially a guy that can't shoot a 3-pointer.
Yeah, he can't shoot. He's a good defender, and he's big, and he can drive, but he can't shoot at all. So
what if what if it's a plot twist and he goes to the Golden State Warriors, right? And what if he just starts like smacking threes, Steph Curry style?
I mean, see, he does this every year, right? Every year he'll put out this preseason video of him like knocking down threes, and it gets the hype up, and then he comes out in the game and he doesn't shoot them. And then when he does shoot them, he completely misses. I don't know if it might be. I think it's mental. I really do. I think it's in his head, and he's gonna have to work on that. But yeah, he has basically said, "I'm not gonna. I will not be playing." So we'll see where he goes. Pacers. Karis LeVert. He's had his issues with health stuff in the past, and now it's come out that he has a stress fracture in his back. They said hopefully he could be back by the start of the season. So that dude, man, he's got so many problems. Like, my God.
I feel like the Pacers for the last couple years, if they would have been able to keep Oladipo, I feel like they were just that one big player away from doing something.
They were. Yeah, they pushed every year. Then they played when LeBron was on the Heat or the Cavaliers. They pushed him to the limit every single year. If I will say this, if LeBron would have went to the Western Conference before, I think the Pacers could have made it to the finals. Because the Pacers were always like second best. They were always pushing LeBron to the limit, and they couldn't get past LeBron. I feel like the Pacers, if LeBron wasn't in the East, they would have made it. And that's not to say LeBron was the reason. Some of these games, I don't know. The NBA is of all the leagues, and I'm going to go down a conspiracy theory path a little bit here. Of all the leagues that have that I would feel like would rig games, it's the NBA. They are the only league, and they have before.
In history that they have.
The what was that, 2002 or 2000 Kings and Lakers series 100% was rigged. There's no reason that game that was not rigged. And yeah, they're the one. I don't trust the NBA. I don't trust the way they do their draft. I don't trust the way they referee their games. I just don't trust them.
Adam Silver, man, he just looks like he's kind of sketchy.
Yeah, I just don't trust them, and that's why I'm saying, like, of all the leagues, they're the one, and they're the easiest way to rig it too. Basketball is easier to.
That's what we're talking about. We say they're sketchy. We dog on, people dog on Rob Manfred for being terrible with the MLB. But I mean, look at Adam Silver. This dude is like, he looks like okay, this might sound a little bad. Might catch some flack from this, Ryan. But he legitimately looks like he cannot be 50 feet from an elementary school. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to say it. It needed to be said.
Well, yeah. Look, I just don't trust the NBA, man. They are very sketchy with the way they do everything. And it's no secret that they favor certain teams and certain players and certain regions. They like the big cities. They don't like small market teams like Indiana and Oklahoma City and this in Cleveland. Only when LeBron was there. They don't like these small markets. They like New York, Chicago, LA, Miami, Dallas. So yeah, they I don't know. I just don't trust the NBA.
Does the NBA even have a cap limit anymore? I mean, Jesus Christ, look at the Lakers.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. And they sit there and they act like they don't like tampering, but we're going to fine you. Cool. You're going to fine a millionaire a couple $1,000s. Woo. I mean, that ain't accomplishing anything. Like, that'd be like taking like $2 out of my check. I ain't gonna notice it. Yeah. So you mentioned baseball. Let's get into it because we are getting very close here to the end of the season.
Cardinals, man, red hot. The Cardinals are red hot right now.
The Cardinals really, and you said it. You said it 2 weeks ago, last week, whenever you were on. You said it. Look out for the Cardinals. So they do this every single year. They wait till like September and they turn on the Jets and just get hot. And they do it every year. And it's looking more and more like it's going to be St. Louis grabbing that second wild card because
whoever they play officially in the first game of the postseason, they're going to beat them. If they stay on this road, they're going to beat them. They're going to kill them.
Yeah, you know what? It'll probably end up being probably Atlanta, I'd say.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking probably Atlanta.
But let's go through not many races left other than the wild card. Tampa Bay has clinched the East with New York and Boston battling for the wild card over there. In the Central, it is locked. Chicago has locked it in, and every other team has been eliminated. So Chicago White Sox have officially locked their spot in the playoffs. In the West, it's still technically there's a battle, but Houston's probably going to end up walking away with it. They have a 4.5 game lead over Seattle. I don't see.
Seattle it's pretty easy, Ryan, to win your division when you're banging on trash cans. So,
they should have let every single team that played Houston this year steal their signs. They should have just.
I honestly think they should have. They should have been. I know it's hard to do. But I really feel like Rob Manfred should have said, hey, no matter what your record is, Astros cannot make the postseason.
Yeah. They could have done. They do it in college. They could do it in the pros. Do like a 2-year postseason ban. So, yeah, Houston's probably going to win the division. In the National League, Atlanta and Philadelphia still battling out. There's a 2.5 game difference between those two for the National League East. That's bad. That's big because loser will not get in because none of them are going to win the wild card. So,
all I got to say, last point on that Astros scandal. Apparently, you can cheat and get caught cheating in the World Series, win a championship, not get it stripped from you, but yet Pete Rose can't gamble and be in the Hall of Fame. So,
yep, stupid. The all-time hit leader, but because he gambled, he can't get in the Hall of Fame. But we can cheat, openly cheat. And get caught cheating, and MLB's like,
yeah,
it happens. The Central, Milwaukee has locked in the first place. It's a battle between St. Louis and Cincinnati for the wild card, but they're also there with Los Angeles, who Los Angeles and San Francisco have both in. They're just battling to see who gets the wild card and who gets the first place.
They both have 100 wins, and one of them is going to be a wild card.
That's insane. There's a 2-game difference between them. That is insanity. 100 wins, and you're going to get in as a wild card. Like I said, the wild card race in the American League, Yankees had the first with Boston behind them and Toronto and Seattle all battling for. There's a 1.5, like a 2-game difference between New York and Seattle. So you got 4 teams right there battling for 2 spots. It's a lot more interesting than it is over there in the National League.
Remember how good Seattle was a couple of years back, just reminiscing on it when they had Felix Hernandez and Robinson Cano before the steroids. Like,
man, Seattle is weird. Like their whole history, like they go through these patterns of we're going to be really good, but never reach the top. And then they just fall off a cliff for a couple of years and they work their way back up. And then they're right there, and then they fall off a cliff. Like Seattle Mariners, like when they had Ichiro, and they had before they, back in the early '90s they were good. Then the early 2000s they were good. They just can never get over the hill. It's weird. I don't understand it. Other than the National League, like I said, Los Angeles has locked in, or San Francisco has locked in the first wild card. St. Louis is on an absolute tear. They have won 16 straight games. Outrageous. And they have a 5.5 game lead over Cincinnati. I do not see Cincinnati taking that especially with his little. Even though Cincinnati does have a very favorable schedule upcoming, I just can't see Cincinnati getting the win or taking that spot. I just can't see it. I mean, St. Louis is hot. I mean, when you win 16 straight, it's insane. But yeah, Cincinnati does have a favorable schedule. I mean, they play
the Reds even with that favorable schedule. If the Reds get in, they're a first round elimination.
I mean, well, you got to look at it. They are 5 games back. They have 5 games remaining on their schedule. Well, 6 technically because they have a game with Pittsburgh postponed. They have 2 games against the White Sox, which are probably both losses, and they have 3 games against Pittsburgh. I guess they do have another game against St. Louis postponed, so I guess there's a chance. St. Louis, though, upcoming, they have Milwaukee and Chicago. So Milwaukee's not going to be an easy series, but I just don't know. I don't see. I see St. Louis getting it, unfortunately, for Cincinnati fans. I just don't see it happening. Yeah, so we're like I said, we got about I think like a week left, 2 weeks left in the season for the MLB, and then they'll be in the playoffs. So, yeah, let's get to the WNBA because they're in the midst of their playoffs. Let's see where they at.
Honestly, Ryan, I can say, and this isn't me being a sexist guy. Like, you know, I don't think of it that way, but the WNBA just does not please me. I've never watched a full, even quarter of WNBA.
I've watched them a little bit. I've watched full games. You know, it's different. But you know, yeah, it's not everybody. I can understand it. It's not as exciting as watching an NBA game. So completely get it. But the first round matchups of the NBA playoffs, we had Dallas take on Chicago, and Chicago getting the win. And then New York and Phoenix had a barn burner, with Phoenix winning 83-82 to move on. In the second round, Phoenix took on Seattle, with Phoenix taking it in overtime 85-80, and Chicago beating Minnesota 89-76. So now we're in the semifinals. Semifinals are 3-game series. Tonight we've got Chicago at Connecticut, and then Phoenix and Vegas. The semifinals are 3-game series, and I'm pretty sure the finals are 5 games. I'm pretty sure. So that's your WNBA update. In golf, the Americans won the Ryder Cup, that doesn't happen very often. I don't know why, but yeah, Americans don't win the Ryder Cup very often, but they got it done this time, and they didn't just win it; they completely dominated and took it. So,
yeah.
I think that's. I don't really know if there's much else.
Yeah, there's.
Oh, I guess there was a. I guess we got to talk MMA. There was a.
Oh.
It was a UFC.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah.
Big card this past weekend. Big main evented by. I guess we touch on a couple of the other matches. Valentina Shevchenko defended her belt. Shevchenko, no one's going to beat her. Like I said, they just need to have her and Amanda Nunes do something championship match because Shevchenko's insane. Brian Ortega and Alexander Volkanovski had a hell of a match. Or at one point, Volkanovski I thought he was going to die. He was in a guillotine from Brian Ortega. And if anybody knows Brian Ortega, this dude's guillotine and submissions are insane. Ortega post-fight interview, who Ortega went on to lose, Volkanovski retained. But he went on his post-fight interview to say that he heard Ortega heard Volkanovski gargling in the guillotine, and he never tapped out and somehow got out of it, which was kind of insane. And Volkanovski's response was, my reaction was, oh shit, I'm about ready to lose the strap. And then he kind of got out of it. But, kind of overshadowed by those, Ryan, the return to the octagon of Nick Diaz.
Yeah.
Head of the Diaz camp. And Robbie Lawler starched him.
Yeah.
Nick Diaz should not fight ever again.
No, he did not look good here. Robbie Lawler, beat him in the third round with a knockout. And Diaz, I think it's about time for him to hang up the gloves.
I think I shadow boxed faster than Nick was punching.
Yeah, he didn't look good. Elsewhere, by the way, Volkanovski and Ortega's probably fight of the year. That match was fucking great.
Yeah.
Curtis Blades beat Rosenstruck.
Jairzinho Rosenstruck.
There it is. And then Jessica Andrade beat Cynthia Calvillo, and that is your main card. There were other fights, but that's your main card. Pretty good fights. Pretty good card. Man. Pretty good card.
The title shot.
Yeah, pretty good card there. 2 title fights plus the return of Nick Diaz. Very big pay-per-view. UFC 266. We're on the road. The next one will be 267. I'm not sure which one that's going to be though.
It was going to be Sterling versus Alejandro Sterling versus Peter Yan for the belt, but Sterling chicken shitted out. And so now there's going to be an interim belt, Peter Yan versus... He won the belt. Okay, for those of you who don't know, Sterling won the belt because Peter Yan hit him while he had a knee on the ground, and he took the cheap way out and quit. And by that series of events, Sterling became champion. Well, he chickened out of his rematch against Yan. So now Jan's looking for an opponent for the interim belt. And Sean O'Malley, Sugar Show, Sean O'Malley said he wants that match, which I don't think he's ready. But I do like him as a fighter, so it would be a hell of a match.
It'll be headlined by the light heavyweight title fight. Glover Teixeira versus Jan Blachowicz will be 267. There you go. That's going to be the next one, October 30th.
And then also UFC news, John Jones got arrested. So
It
looks like he won't be fighting in 2022.
Yeah, no more bones. Yeah. I think that might do it. I think we covered literally everything we could. Not much else, I don't think, big happened that I know of. So,
yeah, nothing too crazy. Formula One had some good racing this weekend. Go check it out. Heartbreak at the end. Started raining with 3 laps to go, and Lando Norris couldn't seal the deal. Lewis Hamilton got his 100th win. So, pretty good.
All right. Okay, so that's gonna do it for this episode. It's a day late. We just figured this was better. We had stuff going on yesterday, which really was not gonna make for a good podcast. So this is out Wednesday morning. The video game podcast will be out Thursday morning, and the wrestling podcast will be out Saturday morning. Tune into that one to find out who is the podcast prediction champion. We'll be talking everything from Monday Night Raw to Extreme Rules.
All I gotta say, guys, that wrestling podcast on Friday, gotta watch it, gotta stay tuned. Let me talk to you, all right? That's what I gotta say about that.
Find out who won. It was one of the close. I will say this was one of the closest predictions we've ever had doing this, and it was a fun show. Extreme Rules caught a lot of slack. Just a little preview. I liked it. But also talk on the video game podcast. We will be discussing the Mario movie, the Nintendo Showcase, all that stuff on the video game podcast. It'll be me and Nathan, and maybe we'll be joined by our other brother Sean if I can get him on. So tune into that. Tune into the YouTube channel as always to watch the video versions of these and all the other videos we've been putting out. Tune in TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that. It is Sabri ENT right behind me there. Sabri ENT on all the social media. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. As always, I am Ryan. He is Jeff. Here to remind you to always score if you can, save if you must, but always suplex when necessary.
Later.
Peace.